Thomas and friends, making tracks to great destinations.
There 2, there 4, there 6, there 8, shining trucks and pulling freight, red and green and brown and blue. They're the really useful crew, all with different roles to play around timber sheds are far away. Down the hills and round the bends, Thomas and his friends.
The island of Sodor is surrounded by beautiful blue sea. It has fields of green and sandy yellow beaches. There are rivers, streams, and lots of trees where the birds sing. There are windmills and a coal mine, and docks where visitors to the island arrive. The island also has lots and lots of railway lines. Who's that puffing down the track? It's Thomas! Hello, Thomas! Hello, everybody! Welcome to the island of Sodor. The Great Discovery. Thomas was very good at shunting trucks, and he also really liked shunting trucks, but he didn't really like Stanley telling him what to do. Thomas chuffed unhappily to the trucks. He wanted things back the way they were, before Stanley had arrived on the island. Thomas shunted lots of trucks. Stanley had to take them up the steep hill out of the town to the wharf. Suddenly, an idea flew into Thomas's funnel. If I shunt an extra long line of trucks, Stanley will never be able to pull them, he puffed to himself. Everyone will see he's not so strong after all. Then I will be in charge again. Soon the trucks were ready. They were very, very heavy. Stanley chuffed back. My, that's a long train, he puffed. Not for a strong engine like you, tooted Thomas. But Thomas knew it was too long and too heavy. Stanley started up the hill. It was very steep. Stanley was doing his best. Stanley was using all his huff and all his puff. The trucks clanked, creaked. The train was far too heavy. Stanley's wheels spun and slid. Suddenly, the coupling snapped, and Stanley's trucks rolled away, faster and faster. The engines gasped as Stanley's train came racing down the hill. It smashed into the tower. As the tower crashed to the ground, bricks and dust exploded everywhere. All the hard work was wasted. The engines gasped in horror, and Thomas felt worst of all. He knew it was all his fault. The Fat Controller and Miss Jenny came to see what had happened. "This is a disaster," boomed the Fat Controller. "Thomas," he asked, "why did you shunt so many trucks for Stanley?" Thomas felt terrible. He knew why he'd done it, but he couldn't tell the Fat Controller and the other engines. He felt too ashamed, so he said nothing. The Fat Controller was very cross. The other engines started to whisper. "Thomas doesn't like Stanley," snorted James. That's why he shunted too many trucks for him. Why would Thomas do such a thing? Asked Toby. Thomas would never do that, peeped Percy, but he was worried. Thomas felt very bad. He puffed slowly away. Thomas found an old track. He wanted to be alone. The other engines don't want me around, he puffed sadly. They wish I wasn't here at all. Stanley puffed towards Thomas. He saw that Thomas looked sad and alone. Thomas feels bad, he chuffed to himself. He felt very sorry for him. Later, the Fat Controller called the engines together. Now, Great Waterton may not be ready for Sodor Day, he announced sternly. The engines gasped. Miss Jenny's crew will load the rubble into the trucks tonight. But this means extra work for all of you, he added. Tomorrow you will start to shunt the trucks away to the sidings. Thomas had let down the Fat Controller. He had let down the other engines, and he had let himself down. The other engines started to chuff away. No one spoke to Thomas. He was no longer in charge, and he felt he was no longer wanted. That night, all the other engines were asleep in their sheds. But not Thomas. Jack and Alfie had already loaded their trucks of rubble. If I shunt all the freight cars away to the sidings, the tracks will be clear in the morning. Then everyone will like me again. Thomas wanted to do something to get his old job back. So Thomas started to shunt the trucks away. Thomas worked very hard. He felt very pleased with himself. Then Thomas saw one last truck. It had rolled in front of an old mine shaft. I'll soon fix that, Thomas smiled. Then there was trouble. Thomas biffed the truck too hard. It rolled forward and disappeared into the mine. Cinders and ashes, exclaimed Thomas. Where did that truck go? Thomas rolled forward and peered inside. It was very dark. I must finish the job, he huffed. I'll soon find that truck. And Thomas puffed into the mine. It was very dark. Thomas was happy he had a bright lamp. He saw the truck rolling away. Then it disappeared around a bend. Bust my buffers, puffed Thomas. I'd better go after it. The slope was very steep. Thomas whizzed down it and clattered around the bend. Up Thomas whooshed and down he whizzed. Whee! Thomas whistled and whoa! He cried. It was very scary, but it was very exciting. Thomas had almost caught up to the truck. You won't get away from me, he whistled happily. But Thomas didn't see the junction ahead. The truck whizzed down the right track and Thomas sped down the left. Thomas had lost the runaway truck. But his roller coaster ride was so much fun. Thomas soon forgot about the truck. Then there was trouble. The tunnel ahead was blocked. Oh no! Cried Thomas. He applied his brakes, but it was too late. Thomas crashed straight through the blocked tunnel. With a mighty splash, Thomas landed in a pool of water. Oh, Drizzling fireboxes! This tunnel is flooded! He gasped. It didn't feel fun anymore. It felt scary. I wish I was back at Great Water then, he wished quietly. Thomas drifted slowly forward. There was nothing he could do. Cinders and ashes! Thomas gasped as he floated along the tunnel. He tooted as loudly as he could. "Help!" he cried. But there was no one there to hear his whistle. "No one will find me now," Thomas wailed. "No one will want to find me." The next morning, Stanley, James, Gordon, Percy, Edward, Henry, Emily, and Toby had arrived for work. "Where's Thomas?" Stanley asked. The engines looked. Thomas wasn't there. They all thought hard. No one knew where Thomas was. James was worried. He asked the little engines at the junction, "Have any of you seen Thomas?" James puffed. None of the little engines had seen Thomas either. Percy called Jack and his team together. "We can't find Thomas," Percy peeped. "Do you know where he's gone?" Jack and his team thought hard, but none of them had seen Thomas. Thomas drifted along the tunnel. He realized he was moving faster. "Bust my buffers!" he cried, as he raced through the tunnel. The Fat Controller was called. "Sir, Thomas has disappeared," Edward puffed. "No one knows where he is," whistled Emily. "And I miss him," peeped Percy. "This is very strange," boomed the Fat Controller. Everyone agreed, and they had to find Thomas at once. "This is a state of emergency," he boomed importantly. "Everyone must look for Thomas."
Where, oh, where is Thomas? Where has Thomas gone? Perhaps he's playing hide and seek, or something's really wrong. Sir Topham Hatt has spoken. Thomas must be found. So everyone is searching every inch of Sodor ground. The engines search the sidings and every length of track. They look for him round timber sheds, the front, the side, the back. The children get a day off school to hunt for you-know-who. And even Lady Hat joins in case she finds a clue. Where, oh, where is Thomas? Where has Thomas gone? Perhaps he's playing hide and seek, or something's really wrong. Sir Topham Hatt has spoken. Thomas must be found. So everyone is searching, but look who's underground. Thomas is hiding away all the time. He's trapped inside a disused mine. He's rocking and rolling down a flooded track. He just can't say when he's coming back. He just can't say when he's coming back. Meanwhile, up above him, Jeremy flies high. Herald to is swooping low across the Sodor sky. Everyone is searching, Salty at the docks. Bertie, Terrence, everyone behind each ragged rock. Where, oh, where is Thomas? Where has Thomas gone? Perhaps he's playing hide and seek, or something's really wrong. Sir Topham Hatt has spoken. Thomas must be found. So everyone is searching every inch of Sodor ground. So everyone is searching every inch of Sodor ground.
Deep inside the mine, Thomas went up and down, round and about. and the water roared around him. The Fat Controller drove and drove to every lookout point. High in the hills, the narrow-gauge engines puffed and peered. But no one could find Thomas. The Fat Controller stood by the tumble tower. Everyone was tired. Everyone had tried their hardest, but there was no sign of Thomas. "Sir, we have to find Thomas," peeped Percy. "He found Great Waterton. It's his town. We can't have the opening without him." All the engines agreed. "You're quite right, Percy," boomed the Fat Controller. "We must find Thomas.